Hey y'all. Hey. All right. So I know I was supposed to be on here almost 3 hours ago. Two and a quarter. Depending on what's going on. I'm not even in the screen for real. All right, so I'm gonna stand up to make sure I'm staying in the screen. We gotta work this stuff together. In here looking like somebody grandmama. I promise you I got clothes on and not a bathrobe. For anybody that's like, what is she doing? How come I'm trying to get all the way in the frame? For Instagram, I'm not looking like I'm even on the screen. So this is new for me to be able to go. There we go. I need to make sure I'm at the right angles and everything like that. So I told you I was gonna be going live, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all the different locations. I need to have the camera open. So I'm in here, y'all watching me test this stuff out live, get used to everything that's going on, making it work the way it needs to work. And so just today, life been lifing. But I want to leave us with a great thing about lifing, especially as we go into tax season for 1040s going live on Monday. Now, for a lot of the country, and I absolutely happen to live in one part of the country where this is impacting stuff. What is happening is that we got a winter weather serious storm, blizzard coming our way. And people are getting prepped. And of course, me being an entrepreneur, a wife, a mother of four, on top of just the weather doing its thing, you gotta believe that things are gonna happen that need my attention outside of just the business stuff. And that's what happened today. Had to do what a good parent does. And for my youngest, who happens to be 9, I ended up having a parent teacher conference. Stuff like that happens. It's just real life. So I had a parent teacher conference first thing this morning. I think we're on the right track with some things that we got to take care of. But when you have your to-do list, baby, your to-do list go out the door. And it become whatever God sends your way list. That's what you addressed. And so that happened. And it made me late for my weekly team meeting. And so the weekly team meeting got delayed. And I did that and got to check in with the team, make sure everything was good, bring them up to speed as to what was going on in life. And then after that, there was another meeting that was thrown on my plate. And normally I don't do a lot of meetings on Fridays because my Friday is structured to give my team a wind down so that we can check in to see what happened and then plan what we're going to do for the upcoming week. Especially the Friday before tax season go live. And we want to make sure everything is working. So we've been doing that. Our normal business things, closing out and doing month-end close, reaching out and getting clarification from clients because we're doing the accounting piece. And then testing software and making sure stuff is good, checking in with IT where we need to check into IT to make sure that when our stuff is not working as we intended, to be like, hey, it's not working, testing everything so we can flow. Clients have organizers, looking to see if automations are working, checking in, just doing all the things that you as an entrepreneur are like, what? You got to do all this? You got to make it work. You got to make sure that all the systems that you have in place and all the workflows that you have established are working so that when your event day or your presentation or when it's time for it to go, that it can move the way it needs to move. And so that is some of the same stuff I'm doing right now. Just making sure as I build out this show, as I build out the podcast, that I'm understanding how technology is going to work, what positions I need to be in, what happens if I'm out of the office and have to go live on the phone because I've said I was going to show up on Fridays at noon. What happens with the contingencies plan if life gets to life and I can't get on at noon because what? Let's say, and this really did happen, The kitchen sink broke, and water was everywhere. Literally, water was everywhere and started leaking into the basement. All I kept thinking of, thank God, my older sons were here and my husband, and they jumped right into action. They know what they're doing because, baby, and it wasn't me that broke it. I didn't break it. It wasn't me. I wasn't even at the kitchen when it happened. But I could hear the water because I was in the basement. I could hear the water flowing, and the next thing you know, water came into the basement. In my mind at that time, I was thinking, what happens if stuff got frozen? Because all I'm thinking about is this storm that's coming, right? How will we plan? How will we evolve? What is the contingency plan and do I have one? On the inside, y'all, a sister was freaking out. Oh no, we're gonna have to clean up a whole bunch of stuff. Thank God the two oldest and my husband was here. Because if I was here by myself after running and having to do what I had to do, um, being late for my team meeting, doing what I had to do at the parent teacher conference, and trying to make sure that I had technology set up and even knew how to maneuver, I was gonna sit in the corner and cry. Have me a good old boo hoo 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 hoo. God, I just want to reset. Just reset me. So that I can make it another day. And then I was gonna go find a snack. And then if I would have came online, it was gonna be me coming online. Otherwise, I was not gonna come online. I was gonna be fine with that. But because I said I was going to show up, this more so is a promise to me, to show me that even in all the mistakes and even as I'm learning, that I'm going to show up and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it scared, and I'm going to do it with all the bumps and bruises, because eventually in the bumps and bruises, eventually I'm going to be able to create something and being like, this works wonderful. This works the way I want it. It's evolved into what I was looking for it to evolve into. It is going to work how we need it to work. And God, you get all the glory for that, because it ain't got nothing to do with me. Why? Don't it have nothing to do with me? Because, I'm a goofy. I can be goofy as possible. I'm not the most tech savvy. I can get on and go to a course. I can go on to YouTube and read what needs to be done. I can go to the help section and be like, okay, click this, click this, click this, figure this out. Okay, do we have it set up? Is it working the way I think it's working? And obviously, because I'm looking at y'all, I'm looking at the camera, I'm watching this, I can see that we over here on Instagram Live. Whew! And technically, the person who's supposed to be helping me with the production ain't even here to make sure it even does stuff so we can adjust stuff. So I know for y'all, it's a long introduction only for me to tell you, keep going. Keep going. Don't give up. Make a promise to yourself and stick to the promise. Remember, at the beginning of the year, I said that we were going to go live. And we're going to go live from noon to 1. Doesn't mean I'm going to stay on here the entire time. I'm going to come in, say what I got to say, and then I'm going to roll on out. That's what I'm going to do. If people watch it live and they start interacting with me, that's what I'm looking for. So that we can have comments and all the kind of stuff and have a wonderful interaction. If they don't, and you watch it down the road and you see all the mistakes and you be like, what is she doing? Cool. I'm fine with it, because every week when I get on here, it is making me a better version of me for sticking to doing what I said I was going to do. Now, I literally thought about not even coming on. Oh, you missed it at 12. It is. Just catch it the next week at 12. But that will make me do what I did originally with the podcast and just not show up. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to go live at 3 o'clock. I did it at 2:45 because I was testing some stuff. And said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to keep it moving. And we're going to keep it pushing. And we're going to show up. And for that, hurrah me. I'm going to pat myself on the back. And want you to do the same thing for yourself. If that means that you're going to walk for 10 minutes a day, if that means you're going to walk for 15 minutes a day, if that means that you're going to drink a little bit more water, whatever it is that you told yourself that you were going to do at the beginning of the year, I'm going to need you to stick to it. Why? Because if I can talk myself into it, and my team and my accountability partners can be like, Patrice, do it, then so can you. Find you that person that you can call, text, whatever, to tell you, don't give up on yourself. This is what you say you was going to do it. Because if you don't, you're going to give yourself an excuse not to. Now, you probably are like, well, what does that got to do with taxes? It got everything to do with taxes. Because some of y'all have not filed taxes in years. Years, I say. And you know that you should be filing. And it's not necessarily about whether or not you owe. It is, because they're going to catch up with you and give you a notice. But, because they'll calculate it and be like, you owe some money. Here's the interest. Here's the penalties. You welcome. And you'll be like, this is not the gift I asked for. But if you do a refund and you don't get your money in a timely fashion, right, in that 3-year window, then that refund gone. Then what you gonna do? Because you could have used that to leverage to pay something off, to invest in something else, to put in the stock market, to build your emergency fund. Just turn the paperwork in. Work with a tax professional, or just go to the software and go get an old year's, whatever you got to get it done. We are in that 3-year window. And I'm going to actually take us over. Let's see if I can do this smoothly. And give us a good screen. Y'all pray for you, girl. Whew, let's hope the right screen show up. Did we do it? Ah! We did it. We did it. The whole thing not in there. The whole thing is not in there. Hold on, let me see if I can. Boom, boom, boom. And I know some of it is cut off with the logo. Y'all bear with your girl. All right. So, understanding tax preparer credentials and qualifications. Now, for those of y'all, let me bring you so you can see my face. Where we at? Patrice. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. I told y'all this is why I need my producer in here. I'm going to tell him. He going to look at it and be like, really, you just showed up as yourself. All right. Huh? Why the whole screen out on here? Do y'all see it? Y'all don't. What did it do? Why did it do all of that? Nobody can tell me. It's not giving me the whole page. There we go. There we go. Get it, girl. I don't even know what I did. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what I did. All right. So, understanding tax return prepare credentials and qualifications. I love going to the IRS.gov page. Now, I didn't always love going to it because it wasn't as user-friendly as I feel like it is now. And you'll probably be like, it ain't user-friendly to me at all. But for somebody who's a tax professional who geeks out over this stuff, I see the changes. I love the automation. I love the interactive tools. I like the information it gives. Now, I do have to go to other resources, and I have tons of other resources I go to. But as a starting point to be able to teach from, I do like to go to the source. Why do I like to go to the source? Y'all, I was an auditor for 20 plus years. Okay, so I'm always going to go to the source agency. We're going to drill down. Okay, what does the act say? What does the law say? Who's doing it? Who is giving out the direction? And just my years of having to do research on different audits will take me through to be like, okay, what is their website? Do they have a website? Do they have an org chart? Do they have this? So I like to go to official government websites for that reason. Okay, and so that's why we're here, so y'all can understand who do what to whom on what day. All right, so understanding tax return prepare credentials and qualifications. The biggest takeaway, and I want y'all to know, I didn't make this up, it came from their website. The biggest takeaway I want you to have is that any tax professional with an IRS prepared tax identification number, a P10, is authorized to prepare federal tax returns. And y'all like, why is she reading that to me? The reason why is because I want you to understand, anybody who has a P10, any tax professional, that don't mean they got to have credentials like an EA, CPA, or a tax attorney, which you're going to see, right? They have to have when we're doing tax prep, you got to have a P10. So when you're paying people, you need to make sure that you get a copy of that tax return. You see what it says, that they've signed their name on the bottom. If you paid the professional, right? They signed it and they got a P10 on there. Why? Because the IRS said, not Patrice, the IRS said any tax professional with an IRS prepared tax identification number, which we got to file because when we got to get our P10s, we have to answer certain questions. We have to have certain things in place. We gotta pay for it. We gotta pay for that. They got our fingerprints on file. That's why I be telling people my fingerprints on file. I don't charge go to jail prices because they already got my fingerprints. I mean, it's cool. I'm not trying to do the mugshot. Ain't no need. I'm trying to adhere to what the requirements are and make sure we good to go. Now, I got other things going on with me. Not bad, because there's a difference. There's an important difference in the types of practitioners that have representation rights. Why? Because it is. They made the rule. Who has unlimited representation rights? Enrolled agents, certified public accountants, and attorneys have unlimited representation rights before the IRS. Who did you say? EAs, yours truly happens to be an enrolled agent. CPAs and tax attorneys. Because every attorney not going to go before the tax court. That's the reason why. They say attorneys, but I'm going to stress it. It really is tax attorneys. Not every attorney going to go before the tax court. They can, but people who specialize, really in taxes, they the only ones who want to see the tax people. Who a criminal attorney not necessarily want to go before the tax court. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm breaking it down and specifying to that point. All right. Now, enrolled agents we're licensed by the IRS. We got to take a test. We got to have suitability checks. We got to take continuing education. We got to show proficiency. We got to take a lot of continuing education in order to keep that in our EA number and certification gets renewed every 3 years, and they do it based off of our social security numbers where they line up. And we got to send in our support that we've taken our continuing education, that the education has been provided by an IRS approved provider. They have that on file because they do have a way that they keep track of this stuff. And that we have support for it, and we turn our documentation in and we pay our renewal fee, right? CPAs are licensed by the state. Now, really the difference is who we're licensed by, right? Enrolled agents, we're licensed by the IRS and we take a test. CPAs are licensed by the state and a test has to be passed. There's a 4-part test. It's going through some adjustments, but a test has to be passed for CPA as well. They've completed studying accounting or at least gotten enough accounting hours at the collegiate level, and they have to have their ethics letter, etc. Now, that don't mean that enrolled agents don't have to do ethics. We do have to do ethics. Everybody got to do at least 2 hours of ethics on a continual basis because ethics is important, right? Fraud is rampant in these streets. We need to be ethical when we messing with people's stuff, because it's not just preparing and putting numbers in some software, because it may seem that way. And next week we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail, because I ain't gonna hold you long, as the preachers say. I'm not gonna hold you long, but I want you to know as we go into tax season whom you should know. If you're paying somebody to do your taxes, you want to know, well, what's the requirement? What's the qualifications they're supposed to be having? Does that person have to have any one of these credentials, and those are the only people that can do taxes? No. The requirement is they have to have a P10 that they get from the IRS if you paying them. Now, the people that can represent you when stuff go left, the unlimited representation, the only people that can do that are enrolled agents, CPAs, and attorneys. That's difference, right? There's a difference between the two. So when you listen to, and can I tell y'all, I don't normally listen to the radio, but this morning I listened to the radio, and of course it's tax season. So what? You're gonna hear about the Fresh Start program. You're gonna hear about, we can say you pennies on the dollar. Those advertisements, they gonna go on all year long, but we gonna hear them really, really heavy at this time frame because we going into tax season. This is a great time to be like, oh, because it's top of mind. You're getting your tax documentation. You're getting your W-2s, your 1099s, your 1098s, and people are like, oh, by the way, I've notices are coming. Let me go and find somebody so I can finally clear up this issue. So be mindful that when you're working with cleaning up those issues, these are the licensed people that the IRS will recognize to be able to do unlimited representation when it comes to your IRS situation. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I broke that down in a stance that makes it make sense. All right? And if it doesn't, let me know. Now, if somebody has unlimited rights, then somebody else got limited. And who has limited? Some preparers, remember we said professionals, tax professionals, if they got a P10 can do it, right? And so those that don't, some of those people have credentials and some of those people don't. Some of those people fit into the unlimited category and some people don't. Does that mean they can't talk to the IRS for you? They got limited representation rights for the returns that they prepared in front of certain people at the IRS. So it's not like carte blanche. Like an enrolled agent, I can talk to almost anybody, right? I can represent you, the revenue agent, revenue officer. You know what I'm saying? All the way up, taxpayer advocate. You know what I'm saying? Calling on the hotline. If you did the return, and I find this to be very clear at the state level, because they'll get you at the state level too. Sometimes I have POA, power of attorney, at the state level, and sometimes when I go to call the state, I'm like, but I prepared the tax return, and they checked the box and said that you can talk to me. They give you right for the return I prepared. Now, in most cases, if I know it go too deep, I'll get a power of attorney across the board. I'll get a power of attorney at the federal level, and I get a power of attorney at the state level, because I want to get into more in-depth stuff. I really want to talk numbers. I want to talk money. I want to figure out calculations. How much will you take? How much you won't take? What can we do? How can we solve it? That's going to require me to have a power of attorney. They only going to tell me surface level without it, because they got to go look, and they don't want to be divulging your information, because I could be scamming them. Why? Because we in a type of world where people be scamming folks. That's why. Not because that's the type of person I am. It's just the truth. People out here in these streets, if they can pull a fast one and feel like they're going to get a lick real quick, they going to do it. Right? Everybody don't got your best interest at heart. They just don't. Sad to say, everybody doesn't. And people look at this as like, oh, this is a real quick way for me to make some money real quick at the beginning of the year because I'm putting information in the tax return. That's why we're going to talk about what tax professionals are really over here doing and why we require it and why you have a variance of what we charge and why. Because some of us doing a little bit more because we require it. Representation is not tax preparation. But we got some standards that all tax professionals are held to, that we supposed to do stuff correctly. And then once you in that bind, this is why sometimes you're like, well, how come my tax professional can't go talk to the IRS and fix this? Because I'm going to be y'all. I'm going to be, right? The truth of the matter is, you the professional. I paid you. You supposed to know what's going on. Why you can't call them and talk to them? And why am I being penalized for something that you filled out and you did it incorrectly? How many of y'all listening to this can say, yep, that's going to be me? You absolutely correct. And so you got to understand, sometimes the person who prepared it, the reason why they can't take it a step further is because they don't fall into one of the three categories for unlimited representation. That's really what the situation is. Sometimes they can't do it because they was doing stuff they ain't got no business doing. That ain't always the case. I say sometimes. Okay? So I want you to keep this in mind And don't be afraid when you're trying to go work with a professional, or it's your first time working with a professional, or you switching professionals. Ask them, hey, when I pay you, you're gonna put your name on the return, right? Can you file in the state that I'm need you to file in? I don't want you to just do my federal. I need you to do my state as well. And can you put your information on here? You got a P10? If I get in trouble, or if it's something that I'm uncertain of because I done paid you, are you gonna be able to talk to them on my behalf to help me get this issue resolved? There is nothing wrong with you deciding that that's what you want to do and to be able to ask those questions. Why? Because first of all, you got to sign it too. Even if they put in a pin for you, it's your tax information. That information needs to be accurate, and the PIN number that's being put in for e-file to either say you getting a refund or you owe them people is saying, hey, I attest to the fact that this is my information. And under penalties of perjury, I'm going to tell the truth. This is my stuff. This is what happened in the year. Bada boom, bada bing. Yup. And then the person signing it, because they were paid, I'm attesting to this person paid me to actually do this. And I'm attesting to that. Yup. I have all the requirements that are supposed to. I'm able to do this. This is the information they gave me, and I'm submitting it on their behalf. Okay? So I don't know if this was helpful to anybody, if this even what you're thinking about, right? The last little bit over here is the IRS does have an annual filing season program participant, right? And a lot of us EA, CPAs, and attorneys are already in that. If we got our hours and we fill out our stuff and we go to get our update for our P10, these are some of the things they ask us. P10 holders, we have we got to have an active prepared tax identification number. That's the P10. We don't have to have necessarily, we don't have to have the annual filing season program participant. If you're an enrolled agent, CPA, or attorney, we don't also have to have that. A lot of us have both because it's easy to do because we already taken the continuing education stuff along the way. But it's not a requirement that we have both, right? And then if you're not certain, hey, there's a directory that you could go to. Boom, did it work? In real time. There's a directory that you can go to put people's names in and look them up. Ain't nothing wrong just to be like, hey, now look at who are they attorney? Are they a CPA? Are they enrolled agent? Are they enrolled actuary? Are they a annual filing season program participant? Do they handle retirement? You can do your due diligence. That's what I'm saying. You can always go check. Go, what y'all say in the streets? Go get them receipts. The receipts on the internet. They are. Look us up. See if who we say we are, and if our stuff's still in standing. Know what the rules are. Know what the rules are. And if nothing else that you walk away from this, check your paperwork. Actually get a copy of that tax return and make sure the professional put their name on it. Do not, if you pay somebody and they put self-prepared on that, ask for your money back. Ask for your money back. Because that's not right. Why? Because IRS just said it. You got pay prepare. They're supposed to be putting a P10 on there. Ask for your money back. That's all I got for y'all. So for this week, I did it. I went live. I went live in Facebook. I went live on YouTube. I went live on Instagram. We doing things. Eventually we gonna get there. It's gonna get better. I don't want to lecture and beat you up. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it to you. I am gonna be back at 12. Cause that's more conducive for my life. Cause in about 45 minutes, I'm about to be Uber to the kid. To the youngest kid. I told y'all I got 4. I got to go be Uber, do my job. They don't even leave me a good review or not. That joint ain't always cute. So, if you got any questions, the next thing we're gonna learn how to do is get the comments and do our whole show stream and structure. If you got comments, you want to leave a comment, you want to talk back to us, that type of thing. That's what we're looking for. I'm gonna figure that piece out too. And until next week, we are so grateful that you have listened to us and given us the opportunity to even show up in this manner. I'm gonna remember to stay in the frame, make sure I'm where I'm supposed to, have everything set up. And that's for my Instagram people. But I want you to know that I appreciate you. I thank you. I'm grateful that you even took a peek. If you came in and you just went right back out, I'm grateful for that, because we over here at Total Tax Experience and me as the tax cop want to do everything in our power to be able to create an environment where we can help us, help you, help yourself. So until next week, we out of here. Y'all pray for your girl. Y'all pray for the team over here as tax season go live and the snow come into the building. Well, not literally into the building, but y'all got me. Y'all stay warm. I'ma holler at you.